Hi, thanks for joining me. I'm Mike. I've been a bartender for over 20 years. Today I'm going to teach you a timeless, simple yet sophisticated Maker's Mark Manhattan. Before we get to the good stuff, let's talk a little bit about the history and some knowledge about whiskeys and bourbons. In a 2018 article on the Spruce Eats, Colleen Graham informs us that in 1789, Elijah Craig actually invented bourbon by taking moonshine and putting it in a charred barrel, and poof, the rest is history. We have bourbon. In 10 interesting facts about bourbon on bourbontours.com, it said that all bourbon is whiskey, yet not all whiskeys are bourbon. By definition, whiskey is a spirit distilled from fermented grain mash. Grain varieties include wheat, rye, barley, and corn. They're then aged in a wooden barrel. To be considered bourbon, it needs to be produced in America and be made from 51% corn. 95% of all bourbons are made in Kentucky. Let's discuss a little bit about the popularity of bourbon and whiskeys. In a 2020 beverage industry article, Barbara Hoffman tells us that brown spirits have outpaced white spirits for the 7th consecutive year, driven by domestic and imported whiskeys. That's up 10% against the previous year. In May of 2019, Kyle Schwartz wrote, "Distilled spirits sales continued their 2 decades of steady increases in 2018, with whiskey sales continuing to rise among all subcategories." Why are they so popular now, you may ask? Well, the increasingly educated palate of the population has led us here. We've got from wine to craft beers to now whiskeys and bourbons, because the nuances of these drinks are different than, say, vodka that is of a very similar palate. We start to understand the details and the flavor profiles of what's going on, which led the distillers to smaller batches, and where each bottle can be different, and each bottle may taste slightly different even though they're labeled the same. Also, flavors. We've all heard of Fireball. There's peach, caramel, chocolate, and even peanut butter whiskeys out there. There are endless opportunities. Why did we choose Maker's Mark? Well, on the Maker's Mark website, it informs us that the red winter wheat imparts the front of the palate sweetness that Maker's known for, and it's what pairs well with the sweet vermouth. The sweetness works well. This is a bourbon you can drink on the rocks just due to the sweetness, but it's going to go well with this to make a really nice, well-balanced, sweet Manhattan. Enough with that. Let's get to the fun stuff. Let's make a drink. So, first we have our martini glass chilling already. Some people may keep them in the fridge or the freezer. We've got ice and water to chill ours. We've got our rocks glass for the Manhattan on the rocks. We've got our shaker tin, our stir spoon, our jigger. This is our measuring tool, which is 1.25 ounces and 0.75 ounces. Your standard pour for a drink is 1.25 ounces, and a double usually is 2 ounces, so you can do one on each side. The Maker's Mark recipe for a Manhattan is 2 parts Maker's Mark and 1 part sweet vermouth. Finally, we'll be garnishing with a cherry. Let's get to it. So we're going to take 2 pours here, 1.25. 1.25, that's our 2 parts Maker's Mark. 1 part sweet vermouth. Now this is going to separate a good drink and a great drink. It's the shaker. It's going to incorporate the flavors all throughout. It also dilutes the alcohol a little bit and takes the bite off. You know ready when the outside of the tin is cold and you can start to see the condensation and coldness. Burr cold. Pour a drink out.